Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Streaming Alchemy. I'm John Mahoney, and on today's show, we're going to be wrapping up season two of Streaming Alchemy with a look at some more fun things that you can do with masks inside of vMix. So, before we get started, uh, this is our holiday show. So, please, we're going to be a little more laid back today. And hopefully, you'll feel comfortable asking any questions you want. We welcome you if you'd like to join us on air. Please, as I said in the notes, don't be shy. It would be great to have you join us. But any questions, any comments you have, please just keep them coming and we'll keep this very interactive and sort of low key for today. So, what I wanted to do today was something that probably wouldn't be a normal full show, but for a holiday show, I thought it was a good fit. And let's take a look at some more interesting things we can do with masks inside of vMix. So let me start by switching over. And so this is this is the dream gift that I'd love to have. And so what I can do is I can tear it open a little. I see, oh, it's the MacBook Pro M1 series that I'd love to get. So this is what we're going to do now is show you how you can use masks inside of vMix to X-ray into the system and show off different features. So for instance, I could go here and say, here are the fans and how the fans work inside of this. And then I could go and jump over and say, and the speakers here on the outside are fantastic and they great sound reproduction. I could go there and talk about the battery and the battery life and how the batteries are placed for heat dissipation. I could even talk a bit about the CPU. And then we could even just take a look at the entire motherboard. But you'll notice this, that with everything that we're doing here, uh, that you see all the layers. You simply get a look through on some of them. So let's look at what we actually did inside of vMix to make this happen. But actually, I mean, I know I just jumped in, but before we go there, let me jump to everybody here on the comments. So we have Rudy is wishing everybody a good evening and a Merry Christmas. Rudy, the same to you and your family. Thank you for joining us here on Christmas Eve. So definitely appreciate that. We have KXO Radio, also offering season's greetings. KXO, thank you, and I appreciate all of you that have spent time here as part of this community. I really appreciate it. Uh, so we have Guy, who's mentioning that we were a little slow getting up on YouTube, but that finally came through. So, Guy, thank you, and thanks for joining us as always. Uh, so we have Dennis. Merry Christmas and a vMix New Year. Yes, Dennis. Well, they have vMix 25 out in beta now, so we'll all get to play with that and explore some of the new things over the time off. So let's see. We also have America Newscape giving a howdy, and probably just as important, putting up a little Christmas tree. So thank you, America Newscape. I appreciate that. All right. So let's just take a quick look at how we set this up inside of vMix. So if I come here, let me see if I can set this up here so we have all of this here. So what I start with is I start with this rep present, and the way we did this is we have three images here. So let me see if I can. So here in the first one, we have the wrapped present. So that's really the image of the wrapping paper. The next one is we have an external shot of, let me see if I can get this here. So an external shot of the MacBook Pro with the lid open and the keyboard showing sort of top down. And then as our third image that we brought in here, we have sort of the innards of the system that we put here as three layers. And this next input we have here is exactly this. We have, the layers in a multi-view stacked one on top of the other, from the wrapping to the external to the internal. And what you will notice we do not have sitting out here, uh, close this, is we don't have all the individual masks. But what we do have is we have two lists that we set up, two playlists. And these playlists contain all the masks that we used. And we applied these masks in two places. For the wrapping mask, we applied that to the wrapping paper. And we did that by, if we go up to color key, you can see down here where we have the key fill input. We just took and said, let's take that last input that we have there for wrapping paper, and that's going to be our mask. And we can change this mask simply by changing the item in that playlist that we have selected. And we've done the exact same thing here with the masks for the external, which is the overhead shot of the outside of the live tear box, where we're taking the masks from here, which is just picking one of the inputs and managing that. So this now gives us the stack, and then how we want to cut through that stack is all being controlled by playlist. So let's take a look at the playlist that we have here. So in the playlist, we have, let's just look at the mask for the computer first. In the playlist, we have this full mask, which is saying, I want to see the entire external. I don't want to see through it at all. And then, as we go through, we have different cutouts that we did for each one of the different areas that we wanted to look at. And so you can see here, these are just different ways we did this. And for that look through, we have a gray thing, which sort of gives you a semi-transparent view of the top, but you still see the frame and everything else that sort of sits on top of the motherboard. So these were all the inputs that we had that we were using for this. And you'll also notice that what we did here is we feathered the edges as we input the black. And this allows for that smooth sort of fade away look as you open up and look inside. So I mean, the two ways you could do this, you could do this with a very hard cutout, so it made a very crisp thing. And that would probably look best if you had some sort of drop shadow or some sort of outline that was tight around that. But that probably would require a lot more pre-planning work to get that in there. In this case, we just used sort of an outline of each of the shapes that we wanted to highlight, put it in, feathered it out, and then filled it with black to create the cutouts. And so that's what we did for each of these sections. And that gives us that sort of X-ray view into the product. So we did the exact same thing over here. If I come here and look at what we did for the wrapping paper, there was really only 3 of these. So we have, I see the solid wrapping paper, then you see the cutout through the wrapping paper, which is sort of that torn away look, and then we just make the wrapping paper disappear. So it's nothing complex, but what is really cool is the look that you get when you do these sort of X-ray views into a product. So like if you see here, when we did this with the fans, let's see, you can see now that you see all of the gearing and the integrated circuits that sort of sit all around each one of these fans. So when you're looking at it, you have the fans in context of the object that's on top. And I think that could be really useful in a lot of presentations. You could think of this in a biology class where you're x-raying different parts of the human anatomy and doing things where you may want to do this educationally. This could be things that you want to highlight in a new product you're launching, where you can sort of pop through and look in detail at what goes behind something. And it can also just be used not necessarily with this sort of x-ray model in mind, but much more around something that's creative and interesting, where you open up boxes. It could be used in game shows, things like that, where you want to be able to peek inside and see part of something maybe and have people guess. So lots of different use cases for this, but we just thought it would be a fun little show to do here where you get to see these types of x-rays through using standard masks. And the other thing to keep in mind is that you have these playlists here, which means that you can load new files into playlists. Basically, you can load a playlist with file lists in it into a playlist. And this can mean that you could change objects and cut through them using by just loading different playlists. And we did all this using shortcuts. So let me jump up here to the shortcuts we have set up. And so all we're doing is there is a function called select index. And so with select index in a basically a list like we're using here, you will pick what's the input for that I'm going to select the index in. And then I'm going to put the value, which one of these inputs, which one of the masks, basically in this case, do I want to use from this input? And so it's very, very simple to do this. You no longer have to think of, using lots of separate inputs up just to handle the masking piece. So we thought that was a handy thing that probably could be applied in other situations, and it's just a select index. So it's a very simple type of call. No scripting or anything else is needed here. So, like I said, I wanted this to be a short show. I know it's Christmas Eve for everybody that celebrates Christmas, and we wanted to make sure that we weren't cutting in too much into the time that everybody has with family. But we also wanted to make sure that if anybody wanted to call in, anybody had any questions or anything, we'd wrap this up and make this really like one long after show. So let me jump back to the comments again. So let's see. Guy is wishing all of us a Merry Christmas. So Guy, thank you. You are as so many other people that join us every week. We really appreciate you being part of this community. We have Peter Fisher from wishing us a Merry Christmas from Berlin. Peter, thank you for taking Christmas Eve and joining us here. Uh, and so Rudy's just mentioning that we're just using the playlist in a different way here, and that's it gives some chance for interesting results. And Rudy, I appreciate that. Thank you for being here all the time as well. So since this is the wrap up for season 2, what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of a heads up for what we're thinking about for season 3. So the first thing is suggestions. So anything that you would like to see us cover, please, as we sort of tool up and refresh everything for the upcoming season, anything that may be interesting to you, even if it seems out of the box, totally, gee, this isn't what you guys are doing yet, but, would it be, give us a call, let us know. So you can send that either to, the John at streamingalchemy.tv, which would get it to me and we could take a look at it. Uh, or you can leave it in the comments to the show, and we'll pull it from there. So any suggestions you have, and that's the first thing. We really want to make sure we're focused on the things that everybody here is interested in. So the second thing that I think we're going to be taking a look at next season will be more things around cloud deployments, because we know that that's been something that a lot of people have had an interest in. And so if we get the opportunity to package it up in a interesting way, we can just run through how to do things like vMix deployments in the cloud, different types of production deployments, things that combine multiple systems in AWS to run a fully remote production. So definitely some interesting things we're thinking about doing there. So the other thing, and I mentioned this before, is we're going to start looking at exploring Node.js. And that's basically a scripting automation tool based on JavaScript, but it runs outside of vMix. And this means that you would be able to not just control elements inside of vMix, because vMix still has a very robust HTTP integration facility. So that means even though we would run something outside of vMix, we can still basically control everything inside of vMix that we control today for the most part. So that's something else. And where we think that can be interesting is that people are running lots of different systems. So being able to run scripts that are not tied to a single system and that would allow you to talk to multiple systems on a network and use some more advanced functionality than is available inside of vMix's own scripting. We think that that could be interesting and it's going to open up a lot of possibilities. So the other thing we want to do is we want to start exploring more interactive features. So we love for ways that we could do things that would let us post questions, do quizzes, do polling, all things that could create these direct, immediate feedback engagements with everybody out there, in addition to simply, being able to post things as comments. So we think that may help to bring everybody together more as a group as opposed to simply as an audience. And we try to do that in our Facebook group, but we're not always successful. So we're hoping that next year we can bring more frameworks around what we do here on the show to create more engagement, more interactivity with everyone. And potentially the other thing we're thinking about is partnering with some other people to create some sort of event type productions, whether they be maybe game shows that we have people on, maybe have some prizes, other things like that. So we're thinking, in addition to a lot of the things that we've been doing already in this season, we're thinking for season 3 that there may be some new things we want to expand into. But as always, it's something that we want to make sure we're driving around what everybody here in the community wants. So let's see. So, so Guy just said suggestions. Don't get me started. So we love suggestions. So that is something. Long lists of suggestions are always good. So we'll, if we can't do it, that well, that would be fine. But having those suggestions there and giving us different ideas to work off of is always appreciated. And we also have JP said hello and Merry Christmas to all from Cape Town. So JP, thank you for joining us. A very Merry Christmas to you and your family and friends as well. So thanks for being here on Christmas Eve. So, like I said, this is a brief show. It's very casual. So we're just going to jump into the post show. And if anybody has any questions or anything they'd like, that would be great. If not, we'll just do a quick wrap up. So if I don't get to see you, have a wonderful Christmas. Have a fantastic New Year, and I look forward to joining you all again for season 3. And hopefully you'll be back with us when that should be starting in February. So that will give us about a month to retool, prep some shows, and get back on air. So thank you. So if you can stay for the after show, we'll see you in a few seconds. Thanks. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our after show here. So, so Guy just asked me a question, and I'm sure there is an answer to it, but I, I have, I have no clue. So I apologize if I'm out of my depth on this. Gulwin, uh, so my apologies, but that's that's something that I will need more help with from the community to answer that one. So so let's see. So Rudy, I'm guessing is it may be helping with the answer. Duvel. So I'm sorry if I am monolinguistic here with a touch of Spanish thrown in with the English. So America's Newscape is saying he would enjoy seeing some links to additional materials in the Read More with suggestions on what we should review. Uh, so, okay, so that's something we could definitely do. I mean, we do research for the shows that we do here, and so if there are things that we are finding as we're going along, we'll definitely share that. The other thing is I will probably post some links about things we're going to be doing with Node.js so everybody can sort of get up to speed a little bit on that. But we're getting up to speed on it as well. So it's a bit of a new thing for us. And we're excited by some of the possibilities there. So let's see. So Guy also said the Goldwyn is a spiced hot red wine. So that sounds like something that unfortunately doesn't share well virtually, but if we had it here, that would sound like a great thing to be having right about now. But so thank you, and I appreciate the you know the multilinguistic nature of this group, and I apologize for my own narrow skill set when it comes to different languages. But so let's see. So Rudy's saying just a crazy idea out of the blue. How to set up a backup system that via monitoring or scripting can take productions over when the main one fails. That's actually a not a crazy idea at all. And that's something that we've been talking about the possibilities for and a lot of ideas around that. So that that will definitely be something we'll get on the list here to make sure that's covered for you as well. So thank you for that, Rudy. Uh, so JP was saying he would like to see more on live to air, perhaps do a live demo where all call in. So yes, we are planning on doing more things with live to air. Uh, some of that would be call-in. That takes just a bit more back-end stuff for us to set up to handle larger numbers of people, but something we definitely want to do. And that was some of the stuff when I mentioned we may want to do some stuff in partnership as well for like maybe a game show or something. That would be part of the tool. One of the tools we'd be using would be live to air. The other thing is we're going to also next year be doing a series of videos and shows on live tear as part of the neural net side of the business. And so we'll let everybody know here on the streaming alchemy side of the world, when we're doing that. And if that's something anybody's interested in, we'd love to have you join us for that as well. So so let's see. So Guy is saying it's a Christmas tradition here to drink. Nice when cold outside. Yes. So that's for many people that is a year-round tradition. So uh, and something cold when it's hot out, and something hot when it's cold out. So lots lots of different themes and variations on that, Keith. But I agree, it is there are a lot of nice traditional Christmas drinks that are a lot of fun to have and bring back a lot of memories. So let's see. Oh, Rudy actually beat me to it. He says, uh, "Be honest, we all like to drink." So so that's a bit of honesty dropped on us all there. So thank you, Rudy, Rudy, for that. So let's see. Uh, and Guy is mentioning that it's because they have the good stuff there. So yes, I I had the privilege of actually living in London for uh, almost 3 years and getting to travel through Europe pretty extensively. So I definitely appreciate that there are a lot of things that I miss here now that we're here back in the States that we just don't have the same sort of quality of or depth of. And uh, definitely there are a lot of beverages, and also there are a lot of pastries. And I have to say, I'm a pastry person, so that's my weaknesses are sort of laid out there. But definitely, in parts of Europe, some of the traditional uh, pastry uh, recipes that are just phenomenal. So never have a trouble going on a food journey through Europe again. That would be a lot of fun. So so let's see. So Rudy's saying we need to invite John over there. I would definitely love to go. I mean, if I had the business case to go and could carve out the time, it would be great to see everybody over there. So we'll see what 2022 brings. Maybe that would be something we could pull off here. So let's see. We have Frank B. Just said, do you think that producers should start producing their own shows and selling online tickets for those events? That's an interesting one because there are a lot of things that go into producing an online event and managing all of the things that go with that. So if I were recommending something to someone, I would probably say start with uh, partnerships, people who can do ticketing. Maybe, Zoom has events baked into it now. So that may be something where at least you get used to everything that needs to be done in terms of the coordination around these events. And then as you become comfortable with that, take on more of that functionality in house. That would probably be the approach I would take. But I think everybody has the ability now to start to produce things that can talk to the communities they want to reach. And you know, I always say start small, but start, and make sure that you become comfortable. But don't let, as they say, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Uh, you want to, you're going to learn, and your first efforts are always going to be less satisfying, less professional than the efforts later on. But that can't be a reason not to start. So, to the point, I think you should definitely begin looking at producing, leverage other people's knowledge and platforms as you start. And as you become more comfortable, move on and take on as much as you think makes sense for you, that lets you add a unique value that you couldn't get from other people. And some of that could be monetary, some of that could be just production value. But that would sort of be the way I would approach it. So. So, so Guy is applauding our using proper font for the comment. Well, you embarrassed us into doing this before season 3. So Guy, yeah, we definitely are now trying to come up to that higher standard. So we appreciate you nudging us in the correct direction there. And he also said. You bet, Rudy. It's what I missed when I lived over there, so he understands what I miss. So yes, Keith, thank you. It's there, it is amazing, when you get the chance to travel, the things you get to discover, and with culture, with food, with perspective. So it's I encourage everyone, no matter where you're from, to to get out of the comfort zone and get to meet and spend time in other communities, other environments that you'll be amazed at the wonderful things you find there. If you can do that. And I was lucky I got the chance to do it when I was a lot younger, and had the time to really immerse myself and spend time, years in another country. That was fantastic. So definitely, I would love to. I'd love to get the chance to do that with my family here now as well. So hopefully that will be something we'll get to do soon. So let's see. So we have Ken. Ken is saying Merry Christmas from Northern California. Uh, so Ken, thank you very much. Has been great to have you here. You've been with us through 2 seasons, and definitely appreciate seeing you join us for a third. So let's see. So we have JP is talking to Frank B. He's talking about pay-per-view. Uh, and he said, we found you need a streaming location, preferably with a ready network. But the cost to streaming CDNs is prohibitive. So I mean, that I JP, thank you for sort of putting a little more color to that. There are a lot of expenses, and the more, like, if you're doing with a for pay CDN that does that takes pieces of the gate fee, the ticket price you charge, you can find that until you get to very large numbers, your events are not going to be particularly profitable. So there are economics behind all this that you need to consider, and I think that's really important. So thanks, JP. That's a good thing to highlight here. So so we have, let's see, American Newscape. It says, thanking all the Alchemy team for taking our games to a new level. So guys, thank you for joining us. This is so much fun. I mean, I feel really blessed that I get to share these things with you and to engage with you every week. So This is something I feel like I'm the lucky one on this side. So thank you very much for being part of this. So let's see, Lightning Video TV. So do you think that Zoom needs to create a portal for all people who create events? The on Zoom portal is the kind of portal I'm suggesting, but expanding upon it. So I think, I mean, we've talked about this internally because I don't know whether you saw, but Stream Geeks a couple of weeks ago just had a Stream Geek Summit 3 that they did on Zoom events. And so we got to spend some time with that. And we saw things we liked and things we didn't like. So we definitely have some sort of opinions on where this can evolve in the future. So I think the entire experience in something like Zoom is still like Zoom webinarish. So it was just multiplied where you can have Zoom rooms and Zoom webinars, and they sort of combine them all with an outer layer that lets you navigate between them. But it doesn't really replace the in-person experience. A lot of things, and this is what we were talking about internally when we'd spent time there. A lot of the things that you get when you go to something like NAB is those interpersonal things, the one-on-one experiences, or the small groups. And I think a part of this experience as people move into these virtualized event portals is that they have to really accommodate that, accommodate the ability for little groups of people just to get together and huddle by themselves, because that's a big piece of this. It's not, people don't always want to talk to the large audience in the room. So it'd be nice if people could just tap each other and form a little huddle group and then break out of that and have those types of things. So there are other things in there, but I think all of these things are just in their infancy, and there'll probably be a long, evolutionary path that they'll go down. But for some of them, it may not be Zoom. I mean, Zoom may look and say, our bread and butter is Zoom meetings, Zoom rooms, and sort of that conferencing style for more the corporate space. And there may be other niches that want something different, but that's not theirs. So I expect that we're going to see some existing players that have started in this space grow and sort of fill in some of these other more specific niche requirements for event production. And all of them will grow, learn, and develop. So it's part of the process. So let's see. So Rudy just said, the first time I worked for vMix in Amsterdam during IBC, he was shocked to see people from all over the world came in to just say hi. Uh, Rudy, that amazes me every week that I go live. Uh, the number of people from around the globe that actually join us for shows, uh, it's amazing to me, and I think it informs us in a lot of ways for what the future holds. I think if we can make these connections at a global level as individuals, but as a group of individuals with a common interest, I think that holds nothing but good things for the future. Uh, we have to get out of spamming, trolling and everything else that goes on a lot of platforms like Facebook, but really focus on how do you build better communities around things that people care about and that either pique their interest or improve their lives. And I think that's it. We find that those types of things, those types of commitments, interests, passions, don't have any real borders or boundaries. So it's great that we get to do this every week. So thank you all for that. So 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 Guy is saying he thinks there will be a variant at some point that will be called Zoom. So that, there may be. We're getting up there in the Greek alphabet, so it's very possible we're going to see one, or I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do after they run out of alphabet letters. In hurricanes, they go to the Greek alphabet when we run out of names. We may have to take the opposite end and start using names. Zoom could definitely be one of them. So, so let's see. So we have Donald Oliver Ministries. is wishing everybody a good afternoon and a blessed holiday. So, Donald Oliver, thank you very much for joining us. Have a wonderful Christmas, great holidays, and enjoy family, enjoy some time off. So let's see. We have so Kostas is joining us from Greece. So Kostas, thank you very much for joining us. Like I said, I am humbled by the number of people globally that are part of this community. So thank you for joining us. So we have Eastern Shore Broadcasting. So that is Tom Sinclair. Tom, thank you for popping in here. Definitely appreciate it. Had a great time on your show this year, and I hope we get a chance to do some stuff together next year as well. But a very Merry Christmas to you and your family, and be safe and well. And I will definitely see you and be in touch in the new year. So let's see. So we have JP saying, so this show is still authentic. Don't change. Uh, so JP, thank you. I mean, I really try uh, in hosting this show to to be pretty open about my own weaknesses as well as things I know, and to share that. Uh, we don't do sponsorships. We don't do other things like that. So that's part of what we strive to do. And we think this is an incredibly authentic community. There was a lot of concern during the first year that we weren't going to grow or reach people, but in the second season, we've really been blessed by a lot of people taking an interest, and we respect all of you as the community, and would never do anything to sort of break that trust or to pose or posture about anything. We're not into that. We just want to share what we know and learn from everybody what all of you know, and that's been a lot of fun here in season two. So let's see. So Tom, for Eastern Shores back says looking forward to a great 2022. We are as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity for people in 2022. We've learned and adapted over the past 2 years, and I think you know, despite the hardships and the loss for a lot of people, I think we are coming out now with a broader perspective of what we're able to do as companies, as individuals. And I think that's going to show in this next year. So thank you for sort of pointing that out. I look forward to a great 2022. So we have Hard Knock Talks. So Hard Knock, let's see. Merry Christmas from Saskatchewan in Canada. So he just started a podcast last February about addiction and went from a laptop and StreamYard to a full studio and vMix Pro in 10 months. So I hard hard knocks. I think that's a great story because it's so important that people understand that you can do it if you have a community that you want to reach, that you want to connect with, that you want to support. Uh, the tools are out there, and it really just takes that. Like I said, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Get out there, get started, do it, grow, learn, and get better. And I think the communities that you want to reach will appreciate that as well. So that's a great thing. And so we are glad that you are here, and keep keep doing the important work that you're doing, because that really is an area in society that we need people involved in to make things sort of turn around for a lot of people, the lives that are ruined by addiction. So that's a great thing you're doing. So thank you for joining us here and forwarding what you're doing, the work that you're doing. So I think that's everything that we have. So as I said, we wish everybody a wonderful holiday season, whatever you celebrate. We celebrate Christmas here, and so wish you, for all that do likewise, wish you a very Merry Christmas. And for everyone, a wonderful, happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year. in all your endeavors. And as I said, we'll be back in February with season 3, and we'll probably be popping in through January with some things we find that we want to talk about. But until then, have wonderful, happy holidays, and we'll see you all in 2022. Take care, everyone.